In this video, I'm going to talk about sex and money. Did I get your attention, sex and money? But before I go on with this video, if you just found this video through the YouTube search engine or suggested videos, or just stumbled upon this channel by some force in the universe that wants you to see this video, make sure you subscribe, because I get a feeling this force of the universe wants you to check out my other videos as well. So make sure to subscribe, just hit the subscribe button down below, right? It's very simple, you can do it now. So now, if you're subscribed, this is for you guys who watch these videos regularly, there's a notification bell right beside the button where it says subscribed. Make sure to hit the notification bell. Just hit it so that every time I open up my mouth and I upload something, you can come and check it out and not miss out on the ranting and the rambling, okay? So I appreciate it, guys. The notification bell does good for the watch time, increases the likelihood of videos going viral. Sex and money. Let's talk about sex and money here. Sex and money. The two biggest attention grabbers, right? Sex and money. If you have, like, on a magazine you see how to make $1 million a year, grabs your attention immediately. Or if you see a hot woman with nice boobs and nice ass and she's like half naked, you're just like, oh, you're drooling, right? You know, same thing if you see like a hot guy on a magazine with some nice abs as a woman, you know, you're gonna also be drooling all over. So they're very much attention grabbers for most of humanity, the vast majority of humanity. And the advertising agencies, companies, and etc. They know how to do this, and I am learning as well, because I've got to grab attention, right? I want to grow the channel. I've got to basically grab the attention of the marketplace. Okay, so then, you know, I actually thought, hey, let's make something about sex and money because it'll grab attention. I'm telling you right now, this video is gonna get some decent views because it just grabs everybody's attention. So, why is that? My favorite question always, why? Why is it that sex and money are such big attention grabbers? Well, if you look at the chakra system, the 7 energy centers, right? It starts off with the root chakra as the number 1 at the base of your spine, moves upwards to the sex chakra, which is the reproduction and pleasure, and it's associated, yeah, with your ability to experience pleasure, but also reproduction. That's the main function of the sex chakra, the second one. Then you move upwards, you get the solar plexus, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, and then the crown. So the vast majority of humanity is stuck, and that's the correct word to use here, stuck, primarily in the first 2 chakras. Primarily, the vast majority of humanity, probably 99.9999% are stuck in the 3, power, so solar plexus, sex, and survival. But you know, the majority of humanity, you know, at least 70%, is stuck in the sex chakra and the survival chakra, right? So money is associated with survival. If you have money, you're surviving. And sex is associated with reproduction. And as a biological entity, as a human being in a biological mechanism, this animal body that you're in, the human body, it is instinctively programmed to pass on its genes and reproduce. So yeah, like, you have this sexual desire inside of you. That is the animal biological desire to pass down the genes and keep the species going and going and going and going. Just the nature of things. You have the survival instinct in you as well. You have this self-preservation, survival instinct inside of you as well. And so, one of the first 2 things that you're gonna wanna make sure you do as someone who's in this biological entity is to make money, because the way we survive now as humans is no longer about hunting and, you know, collecting food. gathering food. It's about, if you have money, you can do it all. You can buy the food, you can get somebody to do everything for you. You're basically good to go in this system, this modern system that we created. Perhaps back in the hunter-gatherer days, when they didn't use money, you know, who the fuck cares if you had like a piece of paper? You're gonna give me a piece of paper? What the fuck am I gonna do with it? Go shove it up your ass. Can you go hunt? Can you go gather food? That's what matters. But now it's a different system. So now money is associated with survival. So you're born into this world, and the first two things that you want to make sure you do is to pass on your genetic, and that just tells you, hey, you're successful. You're a successful human being. You're a successful animal. You're passing down your genetic by having sex and make money so that you're surviving. But eventually, I mean, most people are stuck there, but eventually you're gonna have to rise up the ladder, rise up the system. And if you get to your heart chakra at some point and you start living primarily here, you come to realize pretty quickly that who gives a shit if I pass down my genetics, and who gives a shit if I survive. This is when you go up, right? This is, I mean, some of these high conscious beings, right? These realized beings, like Jesus, for example. Do you think Jesus gave a fuck if he died? You know what Jesus did the day before? He looked at his disciples and he's like, all right, boys, I guess tomorrow is the final trip. Tomorrow your boy Jesus is gonna be crucified. And your boy Jesus is no longer gonna be here. And in other news, the sky is blue. You know, he didn't give a fuck. If you think Jesus, when he was being crucified, if you think Jesus looked at the Roman soldiers who were crucifying him, if you think he looked at them with anything but compassion and love, then you've got to really reconsider some of your assumptions about the whole thing. Okay? Because Jesus looked at them with absolutely unbearable compassion and love. Jesus doesn't give a fuck. Jesus is a fully realized being. He's up in his, all the way in his crown chakra. He's God. He's the whole thing. So to him, death and life makes no difference. In other news, the sky is blue, right? As you go up the system, you don't give a shit anymore, because you're operating from spirit now. You're living in spirit. So most people are not at that level. I'm not at that level. Fuck, if I was Jesus right now, you'd see me walking on water and healing people and shit in the street, okay? So I'm not Jesus, I'm not there. Most of the humanity is like very much stuck in the animal side of things, the lower nature. So I thought about this for a second. I said, okay, you know what? Yes, the consciousness is kind of low right now. Most people are stuck there. They're absolutely not aware of their spiritual nature, of their higher nature. But I also know something. As above, so below. And what that means is, if there is something, I mean, we're talking about the lower nature, the lower chakras and the higher chakras, and the heart connects them. Those lower nature, the lower part, the lower desires, let's say, the lower desire for sex and survival, so money in this case, that's gotta reflect a higher desire. As above, so below. Everything starts on a spiritual level, manifests, so the spiritual is the unmanifest. The mind is the tool which manifests. So these lower desires must be a reflection of some higher desires of the spirit. Some higher desires of the spirit, right? So, I think I figured it out. The desire to survive, the lower desire to survive, and in this case make money in this modern day and age, that is a reflection of the higher desire of the soul to serve its fellow souls that are also just having this human experience. That is the higher desire. The higher desire is the desire to serve God. To serve God by serving others, because God is in everything and everyone. By serving other beings, not just human beings, but plants, animals. And the desire for sex, which is just a lower desire of passing down my genetics, is the higher desire of the spirit for union with the divine. That is what it is, for union with the divine. And sex is really, if done with the intention of union with the divine, it's a very powerful method of getting you there. So I figure, if instead of denying these lower natures of wanting to survive, the animal nature, the lower natures of wanting to have sex to survive, instead of denying them, why not channel the higher desires? Those are the desires of the spirit through these lower desires. Now I can hear a Buddhist in the background saying, stop making excuses for your desires and just get rid of them altogether, because they're keeping you stuck in this cycle of samsara. And I agree with you, fellow Buddhist, but fellow human being who is a Buddhist. But I also think that you've got to play out your desires. You've got to be finished with them. You know, going on your trips, your mental trips and your desires before you can sit there and really become one with the void, one with the nothingness. But so as long as you have these desires and you try to deny them, I think you're going to run into a problem sooner or later. So why not use these higher desires of the soul, of the spirit, to serve, to experience union with the divine, union with itself, and channel them through our sexual experiences and our desire and energy that we put into being sexually intimate with someone. Why not use this desire to serve and put it into this lower desire to survive and make money? And there you have a healthy outlet to express your desires, and they're colored with the spirit. And if they're colored with the spirit, then I think ultimately they will help you on your journey to becoming one with the divine, one with God again. You see? So this is something for me, and as much for anybody who's listening, is when you're going about into the world and you want to be earning a living, the first thing think of is, how can I serve people? And what it is that I want to serve people with. Remember God. Remember that every single human being, and every single being, I don't want to say just human, every single being is God, is a manifestation, a subjective manifestation of God. And you ask yourself, how can I serve? How can I serve? What is it that I want to serve my fellow beings with? And then, once you figure out what it is that you want to serve your fellow human beings with, and once you figure out that you're here primarily to serve, okay, you know, you're here to serve. This is why I like Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is all about service. How can I serve? And then figure out how to earn a living within that context. The context of servitude. The context of, I'm here to serve God. I'm here to serve the world around me. And you will be making money in a healthy way. You'll be not just making money in a healthy way, your money will be blessed. Your money will be blessed by your genuine heartfelt desire to serve. Okay? And in a way, it is honoring also the world that you live in, which is very materialistic. And look, if you have more money, you have more influence. As simple as that. So why not? Why not combine both of them together? At the same time, the desire for union with the divine. Why not use sex? Why not use sexual intimacy to do that? And when you go on about having sex with someone, don't think, here I am, just gonna have sex, I'm gonna have pleasure, oh, it's gonna feel so good coming. No, the priority is, how can I make the other person happy? How can I make the other person experience pleasure and experience laughter and experience joy? How can I help the other person get closer to their nature to their higher nature? How can I help the other person achieve more bliss, more joy, more happiness in their life through sexual intimacy, sexual union? And you keep that as the priority. And now your action, you're having sex from a completely different place. You're making money from a completely different place. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he's talking to Arjuna, right? And Arjuna's fighting his cousins. And he's feeling pretty bummed out because he's like, these are my cousins. How am I gonna kill them? Like, I don't wanna kill them. Krishna, who's an incarnation of God, he's Vishnu incarnated in a human, right? He's God, basically. And he's his advisor. He tells him, you know, it's okay. You've gotta do what you gotta do. Your cousins are causing a lot of evil in this world, and you've gotta stop them as Arjuna, as the human. And he says, it's not a problem. You're gonna kill them, you're gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do. He tells them, look, the action that you do in life, any action, doesn't matter what it is, if it's dedicated to me, if you dedicate it to Krishna, if you dedicate it to God, and if you place no attachment to the result of it, and you just dedicate the fruits of your actions to God, then there's no such thing as right or wrong, basically. And that was like a nice way of explaining the whole thing by God, by Krishna, in a non-dualistic way. That if you go beyond good and evil, what matters is the intention. What matters is the place that it's coming from, and what matters is that you're not attached to an outcome, and you're morally attached to how it should turn out to be. And that is right there is the essence of a master. That is the essence of a being that is operating at a higher consciousness. So if you're gonna have sex from a selfish place, or if you're gonna have sex from a selfless place, it's gonna determine your progression as a consciousness. If you're gonna make money from a selfish place, and if you're gonna make money from a selfless place, that's also gonna determine your progression as a consciousness. It's up to you. The action itself doesn't matter, okay? But in the meantime, sex and money will continue to be the big attention grabbers because, like I said, the consciousness of the humanity on the planet at the moment is low. And in Hinduism, they have the yugas, which are the cycles of time. We're supposed to be living inside the Kali Yuga right now, which is the worst of the times. So, pretty clear to me, you know? Pretty clear to me. We are in the Kali Yuga. We're clearly living in the worst of times. So, that's about it, guys. That was my little rant on sex and money. God bless you all. Make sure to check out my free book, 5 Powerful Habits to Dominate Life in All Areas. It's really cool. And will help you with everyday stuff. Making money, having intimacy with someone, relationships. Really, it's like 19 pages, right? You can read it when you're sitting in a room or taking a shit or whatever, right? 19 pages. Finish them really quick and they will help propel your life in a forward motion. So, 5 Powerful Habits to Dominate Life in All Areas, 5powerfulhabits.com, link in the description. I love you guys, I love every single one of you, but don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.